company is Uber, and my name is Evelyn.
I'm Ben.
I'm Mackenzie. I'm Kerrigan. Addison.
I'm Gavin.
All right, the history of Uber. Uber was founded in 2009 by Garrett Camp and Travis Kalanick. They were at a conference and waiting for a taxi when the taxi was taking a long time. That's when the idea came to their head of creating a driving service streaming through an app. Taxis, usually you have to call one or wave one down, and they base their prices off minutes, while Uber does it more based off miles, also minutes, but their price ranging is better, I guess. Their marketing plan then was connecting drivers and riders with the touch of a button, and it started in San Francisco and went to other bigger urban populations like New York, Boston, and then eventually went internationally into 80 different countries. Their goal has always been to make it easy for two sides of a transaction to connect, and they have stayed that way and stayed to this goal throughout the rise of their company. In 2015, they did become the most valuable startup company. The rise of Uber is based off, or two things have made it rise the most, I guess, and that was the inconvenience of owning a car in urban areas. Most people are choosing to walk or get a ride versus owning a car because of parking, expenses, and just the safety of it all. And then the two-sided business model, which is the app. Both drivers and riders are profiting using one thing, and that is the touch of a button. Uber started with Uber Cab, and eventually they, as their company grew, Uber X, Uber Comfort, Uber Black, Uber Eats, Uber Scooters, and so on have been additions. The main differences between all of the cars is the luxury of the car, the room in the car, the model, the make of the car. Uber has lost some money because of the supply and the demand. When people aren't traveling, mostly due to COVID purposes, when there were shutdowns, businesses were closed down, bars, restaurants, malls, not a lot of people needed ride places. They have faced controversy because of a prior CEO, and the hashtag Delete Uber movement that took over social media in 2017 is probably one of their biggest losses in money. That was after former President Trump announced the travel ban. And taxi drivers decided, or they went on strike. So customers and people thought that Uber was profiting off of this, and they decided customers and people just deleted the app, stopped using them, and lots of money was lost because of that. And then it's the environmental.
All right. So I worked on the environmental analysis of Uber. So first off, when looking at the competitive factors that have influenced Uber's business, it's important to distinguish that there are two primary revenue sources that drive Uber's success. One such being rideshare, and the other is the food delivery service. On the rideshare side, they face major competition from the taxi industry, which has been a titan dominating the landscape for over a century. And then they also face competition from Lyft. And in this case, they have a threat of substitution because Lyft has a very similar business model and also continues to capture more and more market share. On the food delivery side, Uber Eats faces many other competitors, such as Grubhub, DoorDash, and Postmates. But Uber Eats actually made the move to acquire Postmates in recent years for $2.65 billion. As you can see in the chart up here, DoorDash almost has majority control of the market as they close in on 50% market share. So Uber made the move to quickly capture Postmates, to remove a competitor, to overtake Grubhub in market share, and to more easily compete with DoorDash in the food delivery space. On the economic side, Uber operates in what's known as a sharing economy, which means they share assets and intellectual property to connect drivers and riders in any given region. This means they don't actually own or maintain any of its vehicles, and they're able to save costs from purchasing, fueling, maintaining, and insuring these vehicles. This allows them to have a larger profit margin and also allows them to have more competitive pricing. As you can see in this table right here, or in this bar graph, in major cities, Uber is actually the most economical option as we compare a cost of a 5.5-mile ride from Lyft and a taxi. More specifically, you can see that Uber's prices range anywhere from $10 to $15, while taxi fares range from $20 to $40. On the global and international side, Uber is looking to scale and expand its business by going international, but it faces many legal challenges, such as converting foreign currency. So converting foreign currency, abiding by various laws and regulations, and other things. So this poses many risks and also leads to many failures. One such major failure being their failure in China. So as they set their sights upon China's 1.4 billion population to capture new customers, they failed to recognize a major player, Didi. Didi was a Chinese-based company that had everything Uber needed: a China-first design, immense scale, and support from the Chinese government. Eventually, after 2 years and $2 billion lost, Uber ended up selling its Chinese division to Didi and ended up just failing in that venture. Moving on to the technological side, it's arguably the most unique part of Uber's business model. Since all their technology is based around a mobile app, this has a lot of benefits, but also a lot of pitfalls. Some of the benefits include the convenience and widespread accessibility to its millions of users, the social media influence has allowed it to grow rapidly, and it's able to update its features consistently. Some of the pitfalls, though, is that it's subject to the limitations of technology, meaning their target market is limited to people with smartphones and people with a strong internet connection. They're also vulnerable to cyber attacks, data breaches, and various bugs that could affect their user interface, meaning their app might be unusable at certain times. This could lead to their app being down for maintenance for extended periods of time, and the data breaches could lead to tons of personal and sensitive information being leaked, which could result in major lawsuits and huge losses in revenue. And finally, looking at the sociocultural aspects, they have devised a simple application process, and they have very limited requirements to become a partner with them, which has been able to foster a diverse workforce. This has also allowed for the opportunity for underemployed and unemployed people to add supplemental income to their household, and they've been able to foster equality as they employ 14% of their workforce as women compared to 1% in the taxi industry. They've also a unique feature on their app, which are driver profiles, which have allowed for customers to have a more curated experience, as they're able to connect with their driver and feel more safe, comfortable, and have a more overall positive experience. As you can see in this infographic, people rate Uber slightly higher than Lyft with the user experience. And although this is a slight difference, it can make all the difference in customers choosing between Uber and Lyft for their rideshare services. Move on to current marketing plan.
Okay, so our current marketing plan is going to discuss the marketing plan, the marketing mix, and the SWOT analysis. So first of all, the things that are being accomplished by Uber. So they're very good at attracting new clients. Their referral program invites drivers and riders, and you can actually earn money just from that referral. Their segmentation allows new clients, which just means more users, which they can always use. They have a really effective brand loyalty program where you can earn points, or it's also called Uber Cash, and it can be used on Uber Rides and as well as Uber Eats. They also have partnerships with Amex, PayPal, and Hilton. Their ability to enter new markets in the international way, and as well as different territories like urban and suburban and rural. They have a positive review system. It's a two-way review system, so the driver gets to review the passenger and the passenger gets to review the driver. And they're also very efficient at launching new products, such as Uber Eats and Uber Business. which can be seen here. So these are all of Uber's subsidies and acquisitions. So they have things like Uber Eats, Uber Freight, and Uber Business that they have subsidized, and their acquisitions such as Korean Drizzly, Postmates, which just help them to be ahead in the on-demand industry as a whole. They have many different options which cater to many different market segmentations, which we'll get into now. So geographically, they cater to over 10,000 cities in over 85 countries with different terrains and different vehicles to match each of these terrains. Their demographics, so gender-wise, it's mostly equal between male and female. The age range is mostly like 16 to 34, so any young adults or middle-aged people. And their income it's all over the place. Like, everyone really uses Uber, but mostly it's used by middle-class people. And it's mostly found in urban and suburban areas, not as much rural. For psychographics, they really put an emphasis on their ethics and cater to people's values. So people, behavior-wise, who are very tech-savvy, who have very busy schedules, and also it caters to that instant gratification that a lot of people in society today have. So all of these things make up their target audience and help them to, like, all of their different options cater to these different things. And then for ethics, these are their plans and goals that are being accomplished. Sustainability is a major factor in this company. They introduced Uber Green, which is working towards their road to zero emissions policies. Safety is a big thing as well. They do background checks on all of their drivers. They have many COVID protocols in place, and they also provide each rider with safety tips before their ride. And efficiency, their technology is the most efficient in the driver-passenger industry, and there's also a lot of large-scale availability based on their geographic, like how much they've spread out. And doing all of this very successfully contributes to the image they want and the goals that they have in place.
Okay, so I am doing the marketing mix for Uber and starting out with product in place. I'm guessing you guys are all familiar what the product is for Uber, but they supply rides to individuals across the globe. It is an invitational product, and they're actually responsible for more than 40 rides alone a month in the US. And they are available in over 40 countries and 600 plus cities worldwide, but it is limited to rural areas compared to urban areas. So the price and promotion. The price varies for Uber depending on the ride you want and the distance you're going. Is all tracked by an algorithm that includes all these factors when determining the price of the booking. And the promotion for the company. So the company uses many different marketing strategies to kind of promote the business, but it started off in just a free ride service in Silicon Valley, because it's very tech-savvy city. So, which moved into referral marketing because they were able to speak for the credibility of the company, and then they also got credit when their family and friends used the company. They have some partnerships, like Addison talked about, with like certain hotels that guests can use, but it is still very minimal. Their digital marketing now is very common for their advertising source. Their main platforms are Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter because they can get feedback from the customers directly.
So I'm going to be going over Uber's SWOT analysis. So one of Uber's strengths is that they have strong brand recognition, They had a first mover advantage. They were the first company to create this ride-sharing app, so that gave them a lot of loyal customers. Another one, they have a low operational cost, so Uber pays other people to drive for them, so this in turn keeps costs down. But it also ties into one of the weaknesses too, so Uber has a poor relationship with its drivers. They really don't pay them well. They pay anywhere from about $12 to $20 per hour, depending on location. Which it really isn't too much money time to one of the threats too. So another weakness of Uber is their scandals and lawsuits. So Uber has a lot of lawsuits, and we'll also get into that later with threats. Show of hands real quick, how many people have used Uber? Okay, how many people have used Uber in a place like Marquette? Not too many. So Uber really hasn't expanded into rural areas at all. If they wanted to, they could, and this would really be a big opportunity for them. Another opportunity would be to partner with other companies. So if Uber were to partner with a company like Delta, for example, they could offer discounted rides for if you flew with Delta or vice versa. So now Uber's threats, so increasing competition. Lyft is a company on the rise, and they're threatening to Uber. So lawsuits and relationships. So since 2009, Uber has had over 300,000 lawsuits filed against them, which is a lot. They were ordered to dish out over $162 million. That's really not the point. The point is that it hurts their image and it hurts their brand. So that's a big threat for them. And then economic uncertainty with gas prices nowadays, everyone knows. Who would really want to be an Uber driver right now? You really wouldn't be making any money, so that really hurts them. So that's all.
So I'm going to be comparing Uber to Lyft, and in 2007, the company originally started out as Zimride, Lifted, and Zimride was a company where its main focus was on the long distance share riding between college campuses, and Zimride originated from two businessmen, Lon Green and John Zimmer. And Green originally had the idea first while riding on a public transportation service on a post-college trip to Zimbabwe, where he saw the locals there using crowdsourced carpooling networks for transportation and becoming inspired to create his own carpooling network. And then Zimmer saw a post on Facebook about it, and he ended up finding Green through a mutual friend, and that's when the two of them became business partners, and the idea of Lyft Zimride came to life. And in 2012, Lyft first officially launched in San Francisco, California, with the goal of offering their customers transportation with a comfortable and friendly approach, which Uber has already had that goal from the start. And the way that Lyft does this, though, is by attaching a pink mustache to the front of their company's vehicles, which not only makes the vehicle easy to recognize for the customer, but to also make the customer feel more friendly with the driver. And in 2013, the company Zimride is officially renamed to Lyft, and later that year, Lyft sold Zimride to a rental car company called Enterprise Holdings, and that allowed Zimmer and Green to fully focus on Lyft and its mission, which is to provide a comfortable and friendly form of transportation. And a little more about Lyft. They expanded their company into different cities within the United States, such as the Northeast, the Midwest, and Pacific West, which you can see on the map right there. And then in 2017, they also expanded their company internationally to Toronto, Canada. And from 2015 to present, that's when they started partnering with various businesses, which Uber had already done. And some of the businesses include Starbucks, and that's where like a Lyft driver can get rewards for that. And then in 2017, Lyft also partnered with Disney World to promote its business, and with that, they would have cast members, a part of the park, drive their company vehicles, which they would be the theme of Minnie Mouse patterns, which would create the ideal of mini Lyfts. So next, I decided to talk about the brand image. And so Uber is targeted. Yes, Uber is targeted with more of a business professional outlook, whereas Lyft is targeted towards more of a friendly outlook. So with that being said, Lyft has a more comfortable and friendly approach that they try to maintain in a friendly setting, with talking about the pink mustache earlier, and along with that, they allowed and encourage their customers to sit in the front passenger seat to engage in conversation with them, whereas on the flip side, Uber does not allow that, and they try to keep their business more professional. And if you have like a business meeting to go to or something along those lines, you are more likely to get an Uber versus Lyft because they have more, they have more high luxury vehicles than Lyft, and so they also offer additional services within riding in the most expensive vehicle. So yeah. And with that being said, Uber is a more successful business than Lyft because of the professionalism that the company shows, whereas Lyft shows